Welcome to the StatTree video module for independent samples t-test. To test whether there are differences between two groups on some continuous variable, the independent samples t-test would be appropriate. You will need one categorical variable and one continuous variable in order to run this test. In looking at the preferred entertainment viewing survey, demographic question A is categorical with two nominal values. Any one of the scale questions, 3 through 7, would be appropriate for the continuous variable for our demonstration. For this demonstration, we will use question 3. With the PEVS dataset open in SPSS, you would choose gender as the independent variable and linear as the dependent variable. To run the independent samples t-test for differences, go to Analyze in the top menu, select Compare Means, and choose Independent Samples t-test. When the Independent Samples t-test dialog box appears, select the linear viewing variable and press the arrow button next to the test variables box. Next, select the gender variable and press the arrow button next to the grouping variable box. Press the Define Groups button. When the Define Groups dialog box appears, put a number 1 in the box next to Group 1 and a number 2 in the box next to Group 2. Those numbers 1 and 2 correspond to the value labels provided for the two groups on the gender variable. Press the Continue button. Select Estimate Effect Sizes. Now press the OK button. SPSS will generate an output in a new window. As with all statistical tests, the first result to look for is a significance figure associated with the test score. If the significance figure meets your preset criterion, you will need to report your test results in your research paper. You will find that significance figure here. In this test, we have met our significance criteria for the difference between the two groups on preferences for linear viewing of shows. Here are your test results. You would report these figures and the Cohen's d effect size figure, as well as the mean and standard deviation figures for each group. If the significance figure does not meet the criterion, test results do not need to be reported in your research paper. However, you will need to report that the test failed to find a significant difference or relationship in the data. To see what this output looks like, along with a reporting example, press the Output button on the Sending page from the StatTree module. Additionally, these procedures can be run from an SPSS syntax file. The code for this can be copied from the new browser window when you press the Script button on the Sending page from the StatTree module.